Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Queer.Love.Light. This is Desiree coming to you again on this beautiful Sunday from Vancouver. So Queer.Love.Light is a sacred portal that I have started to share spiritual wisdom, insights, and also wisdom from other people through my interviews and to empower everybody to learn from each other and activate our collective power of healing to heal ourselves and heal the world and elevate our consciousness, collective consciousness to make the world a better place. So today I welcome you to this episode where I will talk about how I learn more about compassion. So for me, I've grown up being coming from a Buddhist tradition. My family comes from a Buddhist background, and so growing up, I've always prayed to this patron saint that many in the world, even if you're not Buddhist or don't come from a Buddhist tradition, may have heard of Guan Yin, the Buddha of compassion. She is a household name in China and in many parts of the world that have Chinese communities. There's a saying in Chinese that means every household knows Guan Yin. So that's how famous she is as a patron saint. You can say that she is sort of like the equivalent to Mother Mary, in the West. So I can't say that I've been a religious person, but because of my cultural background and my family's tradition, I have honored Guan Yin as my sort of like a spirit guide or patron saint, if you will, since I was a little kid. And I'd like to tell you a story about how Guan Yin actually came into my family. It's a very heart-touching story that I didn't even know about, until I was an adult. That my brother, my younger brother, actually, when he was a baby, he was misdiagnosed and by the doctor, and became very sick because of the side effects from the medication. And he was admitted to the hospital, and in a very precarious, life-threatening condition. And it came to a point where the doctors couldn't do anything for him anymore, and he was still a baby. And I was barely 5 years old, so I didn't even know about this event until years later. So during his very critical moments, he was, according to my mother, was literally losing his life. And that's when my mom, out of her desperation, she prayed to Mother Guan Yin. And, out of her sincerity of her prayers, literally within minutes, my brother came back to life. So my family, especially my mother, attribute, this life-saving miracle entirely to the blessings from Mother Guan Yin. And so it's since that day onwards that Mother Guan Yin has become a very significant, spiritual anchor, spiritual blessings, spiritual guide and patron saint in our family, and we honor her on our altar. So as a young child, I've always been taught, to wake up every morning and to be honoring Mother Guan Yin before my day begins. And this I started since I was a little kid. So But as a kid, I never really studied much about Guan Yin. She's always just been very much part of my life, as maybe other people may relate to as well if they come from some kind of spiritual tradition, like praying to Jesus or praying to Shiva or any other spiritual being. So for me, it was Guan Yin, and I never questioned it. She was just so much a part of my upbringing that it didn't even cross my mind that this has anything to do with religion. She was just in my life. She was a spiritual being in my life. And I find peace and solace from her by praying, through my childhood. I remember praying, to her when I wanted, to excel in exams, or if I'm having any issues, challenges, with studying and memorizing, my studies or my textbooks, I would be praying to Guan Yin. So she was like a spiritual mother to me in a lot of ways. And I didn't really think much about, what her spiritual teachings or wisdom were all about. I never really studied about her. And interestingly enough, it was after my spiritual awakening to become a healer, that I had the opportunity to reconnect with this integral, spiritual mother in my life, and it was through my teacher, Dr. Master Ji Gang Sha, who trained me as a healer, and he has a very, very special connection with Mother Guan Yin himself. She came to him as a child since he was 4 years old. So he honored Mother Guan Yin since he was 4 years old, much, much, much younger than myself. And him being a very, advanced spiritual being, he was communicating with Mother Guan Yin since he was a kid, and Mother Guan Yin was guiding him and blessing him on his journey and trained him to become the spiritual teacher that he is today, the Tao Grand Master he is today. And so for me, meeting my teacher actually reconnected me and reopened this pathway for me to connect with Mother Guan Yin in a deeper way, and also learn more about what her teachings are and what she truly embodies. And that brings us to the theme of compassion that I mentioned, in the beginning of this podcast. And so by learning more about who Guan Yin is and what she represents and what is her message, what is her mission, to this world, it is her compassion. So the name Guan Yin, Guan Shi Yin Pusa in Chinese, literally means she hears the cries of all living beings, all sentient beings. And according to legend, she has actually, become a Buddha herself, enlightened as a Buddha herself, but she actually made a vow that she will not assume the title or the honor of being a Buddha until every sentient being becomes enlightened. So she humbly calls herself a bodhisattva, which is one of the levels before becoming a Buddha, a fully enlightened Buddha. So that is her humility, even though she is already a Buddha in her own right. And so I've always known that. I've always known that as a child, that she is the hearer or the seer of the cries of all sentient beings suffering, and whoever calls her name and pray to her, she will come to bless them. And there are many, 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 many stories around the world, in the West, in the East, everywhere, of stories, miracle stories that talk about how by praying to Guan Yin and receiving her blessings, lives are saved, or challenging conditions are transformed because of her blessings. Now, for those of you who may not believe in this kind of supernatural powers, or you may think it's superstition, that's okay. But, these are stories that have been around for many, many, many centuries. And you can read about them anywhere, on the internet, and even books about her. And for me, I know for a fact that it is true, because she is the reason why my brother is still alive. So for me, it is very real. And also in my journey of spiritual awakening, she has also come to bless my journey, and I have received a lot of help from her as well. And she continues to guide me lovingly as my spiritual mother. So I felt that it's important for me to share, her message of compassion, because she actually made me help me understand what compassion truly means. And I do communicate with Guan Yin, on a spiritual level, and one day she gave me this very, very profound message, and it sounds very simple, but it really touched my heart, because what she said is compassion is accepting everyone and everything as they are. Compassion is accepting everyone and everything as they are. And so when I heard this message, it really touched my heart very deeply and helped me understand why Mother Guan Yin can serve people from all over. It doesn't matter what kind of religion or spiritual tradition or ethnicity or culture, gender, what have you, that you are. She just saves lives and serves everyone and everything with no judgment. And that, to me, especially coming from a LGBTQ perspective, is very, very heart-touching, because that's her message, is that everyone deserves to be loved and deserves to be served in whatever way that we can, to offer love, forgiveness, compassion. And that is the love and compassion of Mother Guan Yin. Now, she's also known to have miraculous supernatural powers by transforming herself into different forms of beings to come and serve and save lives in whatever forms that they would perceive and accept her more readily. So you read about this in the Lotus Sutra, about how she does that out of her greatest compassion, is that she just transforms into a man or a woman or another angel, without any boundaries, really, of like, okay, this is Christianity, or this is Buddhism, or that, another religion. She can transform herself into any being just to be able to serve with no judgment and no discernment of whether you are a good person or a bad person, or you're gay or straight or brown or white or what have you. So her message of universal love and compassion really, really touches me very, very deeply in that way. And the other interesting thing I want to share is that I didn't know that Mother Guan Yin had a following even in the LGBTQ queer community because of her gender fluidity. Like she is also known as Avalokitesvara, who is a male Buddha from India. So, and she's also had many other incarnations as male, saints and male Buddhas. In this era, she's known as Mother Guan Yin, and she manifests herself as a woman, or appears as a woman, with her divine feminine powers that really touch a lot of people in many ways. But she is very gender fluid in that regard. And I personally do not know any other saints or spiritual being or enlightened ascended masters who have that kind of fluidity when it comes to gender and forms. So when I discovered this side of her that I actually didn't know about, when I was a kid, I've always revered and honored her as the female form that she's most known as, especially in Chinese Buddhism. So I was kind of surprised actually when I learned that there is a queer side to Mother Guan Yin herself, and I was, as you can imagine, beyond elated to discover that part of her. So and it made a lot of sense to me, going back to my roots, why I was so connected to her since I was a child, and it's not a surprise at all. And it just brings me so much joy to know that there is a queer following, for our Mother Guan Yin. So that's what I wanted to share today is my love for Guan Yin, and how she actually transcends, cultures, religions, and gender, as we know now, to be this very humble servant, to all sentient beings who would open to receive her love, her compassion, and her blessings. So I follow her teachings and her and learn, her wisdom, and also had the honor of being trained as a healer in her Dharma. So I love doing Guan Yin meditations. I love doing Guan Yin prayers, and I invite you to connect with me if you'd like to find out more about my meditation classes and what I do with Guan Yin teachings as a healer and a teacher. I would love to share that with my LGBTQ brothers and sisters out there, what I have learned from Mother Guan Yin herself. So today, I'm so grateful to share with you about her teaching of compassion, which taught me also to open my heart even more, to accept everyone and everything as who they are. And that, really helped me to develop even deeper self-love for myself, accepting myself, for everyone, for everything that I am. A lot of times, especially, when we come from a background of, of coming out as a queer person, not necessarily being able to accept ourselves from the very get-go after we've discovered, our true authentic self as a queer person, and having to face a lot of perhaps prejudice and judgments and discrimination, homophobia, what have you, in our communities or society, developing self-love and reclaiming our love for ourselves, reclaiming our spirituality, can be an ongoing, lifelong theme of self-development. And for me, it certainly is that way. So I continue to connect with the wisdom and love and blessings of Mother Guan Yin to cultivate, deeper self-love, love for myself, and also helping other people to do the same. So today, I'd like to do a very simple meditation by connecting with Mother Guan Yin and her love and her compassion. So I invite you to close your eyes and then take a deep breath in. And just take a moment to connect with your own self. Take another deep breath in. All the way to your lower abdomen. And just breathe out. And just let your mind settle into your lower abdomen, which is our foundational energy center, to help us ground ourselves. Take another deep breath in. And I'm going to play the Love, Peace, Harmony song, instrumental music, to create a love, peace, harmony feel. So that we can connect with Mother Guan Yin, so continue to take a deep breath in to your lower abdomen. And this is going to be a very short meditation to allow you to experience the love and compassion of Mother Guan Yin as we invite her presence into this field. Continue to breathe into your lower abdomen and allow yourself to settle. And just visualize Mother Guan Yin in front of us. If you don't know what she looks like, just visualize a beautiful, serene female saint. Feel her love and compassion for everyone and everything. Continue to breathe into your lower abdomen. Just connect with your own self and allow yourself to feel the love and compassion. In the presence of Mother Guan Yin. Visualize this golden light in your heart. And feel the love and compassion from Mother Guan Yin. We are loved and supported unconditionally. I love myself unconditionally. You love yourself unconditionally. I offer myself unconditional compassion. Notice how you feel when you say that to yourself. I love myself unconditionally. I love myself unconditionally. Feel the presence of Mother Guan Yin. Let us honor Mother Guan Yin's presence as she sends her love and compassion to us. Open your heart to receive the love and compassion from Mother Guan Yin. Take another deep breath in. Notice how you're feeling. And open your eyes when you're ready. How do you feel? Did you feel the peace and stillness as soon as we connected to the presence of Mother Guan Yin? I just felt like the world stopped. I don't know about you, but for me that's how it felt like. And it's amazing when we connect to this amazing light presence of unconditional love and compassion of Mother Guan Yin. It's just unbelievable. I hope you were able to experience something for yourself. And if you'd like to know more about the meditations that I do by connecting with Mother Guan Yin, I'd love to hear from you. I'd like to hear your comments. You can reach me by messaging me on Facebook, Queer.Love.Light, or you can also email me, Queer.Love.Light@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to one day have a workshop or event to learn more about Guan Yin and share more about my experience about Mother Guan Yin, and do a meditation together to connect even further with the divine feminine power of Mother Guan Yin. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have learned something, experienced something that will help you bring some more love and light and compassion into your life. I'd love to hear from you, so please reach out anytime. So thank you again for being here. Until we meet again, be queer, be love, and be the light that the world needs.